You cannot find or state a problem without doing ample research in the area. So as we talked last time, it's a cyclic process. You will read and you'll go to the problem. You again go and read, again go to the problem, refine it, again read, refine your methodology, again read, refine your methodology and your assumptions and all that stuff, or then again read, refine your experimental setup, again read, compare your work with the most recent work, and then you are done. So literature review and looking at the related stuff being published is an integral part of research. Okay, so it's not possible to start an idea without reading lots of paper of that specific area. Okay, okay. Literature review can play an extremely important role in shaping your research problem, as we discussed. It's clear. It also helps you to define the relationship between your research problem and the body of knowledge in the area. It's obvious. So how it can improve your methodology? Equips you with the methodologies that have been used by others to find answers to questions similar to the ones you are investigating. Like, there are two things. There is one methodology, one technique used to solve a specific problem. You may use it to solve yours one also. How? If you have something common in respect of another problem, even in another domain. For example, someone found an answer using ant colony optimization or some other natural phenomena in medicine or in some other field. You may use or try it in your field as well. Okay, if someone tried to use some technique in distributed computing, you can use in networks as well. So methodologies, the way the people use to solve the problem, you may look into the details and tweak the solution or methodology according to your requirement. Okay, another important thing, if you are trying to use some specific methodology, some specific technique, literature review will tell you that some other person has already used it. So it's not worthy to investigate that specific technique because it's sort of reinventing the wheel. Someone has already discussed it. For example, if you want to use ant colony optimization or multiple integer linear programming to solve your problem, and someone other has used the same techniques to solve the same problem that you intend to solve, then it's not worthy to look into that thing. You may find you have to find another technique, another methodology to work. Okay, tells you if others have used procedures and methods similar to one that you are proposing, which procedures and methods worked well for them, and what pitfalls they have faced with them. Okay, most of the time the researchers do not mention what problems did they face, or what are the limitations, what are the constraints, what sort of lame assumptions did they use. Okay, so when you read a paper critically, we'll inshallah discuss today how to read a paper, then you can even find problems in used techniques and try to improve the results by using same techniques but more realistic assumptions or more realistic setups, or using a bit different technique or amalgamation or like gathering of multiple techniques together. Okay, it definitely broadens your knowledge base in your research area. I don't think we need to discuss whatever is written over here. Contextualize your findings. It helps you identify to compare your work. Okay, you have got this much result, but the people may have got even better result, way better results than you have got. So, for instance, you are comparing your result with some other technique and your results are worse than the previous work. It doesn't mean that you should change the parameters or you should change the results and show the graphs. This is highly unethical. This is dishonesty, okay? But what you may do is go again to that paper and very carefully look at the assumptions or the setup. What setup did that guy used? What assumptions that guy used? Or what was your objective? What was his objective? So it's possible that you might be considering both energy and performance, or there is a maximum threshold on how much energy you may use, or there is a threshold for what minimum QAE your system is providing. So you may discuss it honestly that these results seems better because that guy didn't consider any constraints, whereas my research considers these constraints. So that's why in this specific way his results are a bit better or whatsoever, okay? Moreover, you can use this one. How do answers to your questions compare with what others have found? They have found the answers, you have found the answers. How will you compare them? How are they different? How your work is more significant? How your work is better? Or what assumptions or what considerations you made that the others have not made? Okay? What contributions have you been able to make to the existing body of knowledge? One of the major goal of research, you have to extend the existing body of knowledge, okay? How your findings are different from others, that's important thing. You have to somehow show that your work is different. Okay, so there are some procedures for reviewing literature, but we'll discuss in detail how to read a paper. So according to this guy, there are 5 steps involved in conducting a literature review. Search for existing literature in your area of study, obvious. Review the literature selected. You have to select the literature. How you can select, we'll discuss in detail. Develop theoretical and conceptual frameworks. How will you tackle the problem? What methodologies will be used? What framework you will be actually implementing or actually proposing? And writing up the literature reviewed. All these steps we will discuss in detail. Be aware that sometimes a title does not provide enough information to decide if books or journal is going to be of use. So you have to look into a bit detail. Start with the latest issues. Examine its contents. That's important. Start with the latest issues. First of all, go to the latest conference proceedings. Okay. Start with the latest issue. Examine its contents page to see if there is an article of relevance to your research topic. Start by reading the abstract. If it is relevant, then download and read. Okay. Review the literature selected. When you have identified or selected some papers, then read them critically. We will discuss it in detail. I have made my own slides for this. This is important step, writing up the literature review. While reading the literature, for theoretical backgrounds of your study, you will realize that certain themes have emerged. Different themes emerge, or people actually are tackling a specific issue in different ways, or they are considering different aspects of the same problem or the same topic or the same domain by different angles. So you have to identify and choose all that stuff and separate and aggregate them. So you have to cluster all that stuff, and that will actually help you to write your survey paper or your literature review effectively. You can start writing, this paper says this paper says this paper says this paper says this. You can write it in this way, but it's not a good way. There should be a sequence, a synchrony in your article. Things should be properly placed at appropriate places, appropriate sections. We'll discuss it, how we can do it as well. List the main ones, like themes. There are some themes. List the main ones, convert them into subheadings. For example, there is the migration. So migration, virtual machine migration. So there might be different aspects of virtual migration. For example, energy is one aspect. Okay, performance is another aspect. Network is another aspect. So you may first of all segregate each article and then aggregate them into a specific cluster, into a specific subheading. Okay, for example, you have chosen 10 papers in, for instance, any technique, for example, virtual machine migration. So some of the people consider SLA, some of the people consider energy, some may focus specifically on networking aspects. If you are moving or migrating the virtual machines, it will definitely burden the networks. So it may cause problems in network performance. Okay, so just pick and choose, make some bins and put, or folders, put the related folders, related papers in each folder, so that each folder should be targeting a specific theme, a single theme. So if you are able to get 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 papers for a specific theme, that will make your one section or one subsection. Okay, similarly you will have some other sections as well. Okay. That's actually your choice. What problem do you want to deal? Because for example, virtual machine migration, it's a broad topic. Then it has subtopics. Then those subtopics have again you can say emerged problems. And among those problems, you have to choose a very specific one. So at the top it will be very broad, then you will narrow it down up to a very single or a very you can say narrowed down problem, a single statement based problem, a very clear one. That's why I tell you, whenever you say we'll do the problem is virtual machine migration or energy efficiency, that's not enough, because the very first answer would be people have already done it. There are thousands of papers over it. So you have to drag it down to a very narrowed down specific problem. Okay, how you can do it, we'll discuss it today as well. Today is an important day. Okay, so like under each subheading, record the main findings with respect to the theme in the question, highlighting the reasons for and against an argument if they exist, and identify gaps and issues. These identification of gaps and issues make your future work. Open areas you must have seen in survey papers, like future work directions, open issues, okay, conclusions, your future work. So if there is a question and there are some things that the papers are not discussing, or there is something that should be discussed and it's not available over there, or if there is some problem that has been arisen by applying some specific strategies or specific methodologies, then you should code them. Okay, people have used these problems, but they didn't discuss this aspect. For example, people discussed energy efficiency by using virtual machine migration. However, they didn't discuss its impacts on the network and how it will affect the normal communication, because now you are sending a huge amount from one machine to other, utilizing abundant amount of bandwidth and the length. So if two machines are communicating with each other to other machines, what would be the impact of virtual machine migration on that specific communication? So people have not discussed it. You have to highlight that. Okay, so you have to highlight